Okay, so I think it's 4 p.m. Central European Time o'clock. So I think it's time to start. So thank you all for attending. My name is Javier Perez. I'm the Regional Product Manager for In-Field Mobility Devices in Honeywell, and I'm happy to host today's event for you. Before we start, let me just run a couple of sanity check for everybody. This event is already being recorded and will be made available to you afterwards. And everyone is on mute by default. But anyway, the questions are always welcome and encouraged through the questions and answers section that has been already enabled in this Zoom meeting. And we will answer all of them by the end of the presentation, where we already allocated 10 minutes for that purpose. Okay, so with that having said, let's go to start the presentation content then. Hello all, welcome and thank you for joining Honeywell and Pointr webinar, where we, Trevan O'Brien, Head of Partnerships in Pointr, and myself, Javier Perez, Product Marketing Manager in Honeywell, we will together discuss about the challenges, trends, and solutions we can bring, as well as synergies, together in order to match the working conditions of the new normal that we are facing these days. This webinar offers a high-level overview of the offerings we do have for contactless delivery. Deep dive webinars, technical trainings, e-learning trainings as well will follow up from both companies, so please stay tuned. So let's start by the basics, right? So what can I tell you about Honeywell that you don't know yet? This is a tricky question anyway. So we have 4 different divisions: aerospace, building technologies, performance material, and safety and productivity. That this is the division we belongs to. And we have different kind of work safety and productivity with automated material handling and voice scanning solutions as well. So we have a headquarters in Fort Mill in South Carolina. We do a good business in terms of plus $6 billion in sales, with a stable and organic growth in the past 5 consecutive years. We have more than 18,000 engineers at worldwide level, more than 9,000 software developers, and more than 35K patents or granted for pending patents. We have different technologies in our safety and productivity solutions, whatever it is, automation and material handling, voice-directed worker productivity solutions, gas detection technology, printing, scanning, and mobile devices for data collection, that we are going to go into that detail for today, as well as workflow software and footwear for work, play, and outdoor activities. So let's now get to know about our special guest company today. Trevan, can you tell us about Pointr?
Hi, Javier. Hi guys, it's Trevan O'Brien here, the Head of Partnerships at Pointr. Everyone knows Honeywell, but you're probably thinking, well, who is Pointr? We're Pointr, we're the deep location company, and we specialize in indoor location services. You're probably thinking, well, what is indoor location services? So the same way GPS is enabling so many different use cases on your mobile phone, we're bringing that into the indoor environment. So you've probably seen our technology at various different airports and workplaces globally. We're currently deployed across 1,000+ buildings across 18 different countries. And so we're powering use cases within airports, being able to get people to their flight on time, to being able to share location between employees at corporate campuses, and then being able to track assets within the industrial space. So some of the logos that you see is the US Department of Homeland Security, United Airlines, and others. So we're purely a software business, and we have the patents around the indoor location technology enabling the use cases that I mentioned. And so through the global partnership with Honeywell, we've been able to combine our expertise with Honeywell's great products and software to be able to provide a safe return to work offering to currently support the climate in which we currently face. And so I'll leave the questions in terms of us and deeper dive into the tech and the use cases between both of us shortly. Javier, if we continue on there.
Okay, excellent. So let's go to see what are the trends and challenges we are facing today. Let me start with warehousing or distribution centers. So it's clear that the COVID-19 hit manufacturers and logistics in a very unexpected and unprecedented way. I think we are all facing that. So for the first time in modern manufacturing history, demand, supply, and workforce are affected globally at the same time. I think this is something which is clear for everyone. So on the meantime, while office employees and knowledge workers are able to shift to remote work as the default operating mode, as we are doing today, most factories report that on average, more than 50% of the workforce will be unavailable to perform their functions on site. So there are four elements to take into this consideration for this new normal, whatever it is, manufacturing or distribution centers new normal. So the first thing I would like to mention is we need to have faster, more accurate fulfillment. So according to the latest different studies, the average mid-site of distribution center loses about 400,000 euros every year due to misspeaks. So in order to improve the accuracy percentage with automatic identification data capture technologies, in order to work seamlessly with our existing system. We also need to work on efficient real-time inventory management. Some of those reports already mentioned that 100 million square meters of global warehouses space is added every year. So there is a boom for shipping the products from the warehouses directly to the end user. So deploying a mobile solution with advanced technology is 25% more productive and 50% more accurate than paper or manual methods in the warehouse. I think it's something that we all need to take into account. And the third point I would like to mention is, of course, we need to provide in the warehouse transparent enterprise asset management. So one of those reports mentioned that 10 to 30% of enterprise devices are either stolen or go missing. So we have different tools in order to control our assets, whatever it is, mobile devices or different equipment. And last but not least, retaining labor and promoting well-being for a more productive workers. I think it's something that we are absolutely clear that whatever it is, the qualified applicants for roles in the distribution center or warehousing or manufacturer, the employer should provide them ergonomics, effort-saving technology that helps the existing workforce, as well as providing clear guidelines for a safer return to work. So keeping workers 6 feet apart, or increasing the availability of hand washing, or ensuring adequate ventilation, or even wearing masks as a clear example. So Treven, what can your company provide, or what is your feedback about the retail trends?
So what we've found, because we specialize in deep location technology and combined with a Honeywell solution, we've had a number of our customers and partners approach us around, well, how can you currently support us in this current environment? Because the current existing tool sets that are available to organizations aren't readily available to them. And so what we've done in the last couple of months is been able to support large organizations with those various different retail sites, distribution sites, to be able to support some of the questions that you currently see on screen. So here we'll be able to get questions that have been asked on a daily basis to us on, well, I need to know who has come into contact with who, how many people are currently in my distribution center or within my retail space or workplace, what areas are currently congested so I can make real-time decisions so I can close off particular areas to meet local compliance or government standards. And then also I'm now running a reduced workforce. We're going to have to start with a reduced workforce. So how do I optimize and make sure that I'm getting the most out of my workforce to meet my current demands? And then how do I route people safely within my environment leveraging? So these current challenges that that organizations are facing through the return to work is leveraging our expertise in deep location called our Pointr WorkSafe offering, leveraging the Honeywell hardware. And so therefore, these are some of these challenges that you might also see and then we'll walk you through and deep dive in terms of, well, how are we actually giving you the tool sets to be able to safely return your employees and your organization back to the operating environment. We can just continue on, Javier. So you might see, and just continuing on from those challenges, is that, you know, between Javier and myself, we're seeing within the media lately across multiple sectors around, well, these are the challenges that are seeing on the left-hand side, that employees are too scared to be able to go to work. I can't continue, you know, my operations due to my employee safety. There's currently COVID-19 clusters that are currently within my environment, and so therefore I'm having to shut down my operations. And so this is daily in the media, so that therefore we've now, between Honeywell and Pointr, been able to provide a joint offering here. So, you know, the organizations are now asking, well, we clearly have an obvious issue here and challenge that we've got to face. Now, I'm looking for an actual solution. And so the current questions being asked around, well, what can Pointr and Honeywell be able to provide is, well, I want something that is cost effective. I know that I need to support my employees, but I can't be spending, I've got a restricted budget at the moment. I need to be able to work within that. I need a solution that actually works. You're probably seeing in the media at the moment that there's a lot of solutions out there that do not work around safely returning your employees back to work. And then I need a solution as an organization. I need it now. I don't want to be waiting months or years to be able to deploy a solution with heavy infrastructure. And then being able to meet the compliance or operating standards in which the countries I operate in, from a compliance and privacy to protect my employees. So, you know, combining those business requirements with those challenges between Pointr and Honeywell, we're able to provide a joint offering, which I'll let Javier deep dive further with you right now. Javier?
Okay, excellent. So in these first 11 minutes, we already covered the product introductions and trends and challenges in warehousing and retail. Let's go for solutions, right? And this is why we're here, all of us. So now we do the challenges. Let's rock and roll for our offerings. I do believe everything is clear with an example in terms of hardware. So in our latest webinar a week ago, we mentioned new safety rules, supplying drivers with personal protective equipment like gloves, masks, and providing customer the option of allowing the driver or the home delivery drivers to sign for delivery instead of the customer. So for instance, while I was at home on the last 90 days that we were locked down in Madrid, by the way, I'm still at home office, the standard signature process at the door from a home delivery company has been replaced by a combination of options, depending of which delivery company was in place. So there was the option that the delivery driver drop the parcel at the doorstep, ring the doorbell, and then ask the customer to come, or ask me to confirm my name from a safe distance. The other option was prior to arrival, I receive an SMS, short message system, or an intercom voice message about deliveries were left at the door, or even at some points they were left at the elevator, and I need to pick it from there. I also have seen a courier took a picture of the delivery at the customer at my doorstep, and then email it along with the delivery notice. So that was really, really efficient. But I also was, as a customer, that have the option to pick up all the deliveries at the parcel lockers that can be opened with a smartphone app, and therefore limits contact with other people. So one thing is clear for this example, that all the changes that we have been through these days are designed for reducing, or at least eliminating as much as possible, the contact with customers or with workers, in order to create a safer way to interact. So what options do we have in terms of Honeywell? And let me come back for a minute for the hardware set. We have Mobility Edge. So most of you who already know Honeywell, you know that we have a huge, unique differentiation point with the system model architecture that runs smoothly into different form factors and different structures, whatever it is, full touch mobile devices, key-based mobile devices, rugged tablets, vehicle mount computers, and so on. I just took the liberty in the RP2, RP4, because even it's not Mobility Edge, is part of our solution, the high-end solution that we had. So all in all, this is a common hardware and software platform that is used across many different products. So that's what we call a system and model architecture. All Mobility Edge products that you can see on the screen use the same operating system image, which means that applications can run seamlessly across all form factors. So this is good to know in terms of hardware architecture, but what does it mean in terms of benefits? Basically, for our partners and customers, it simplifies integration. So you have running one operating system, and deployment and future upgrades are much faster and easier with this integration effort. Also, we are able to optimize worker performance in order to enhance communications, collect and receive data, and facilitate whatever it is an outstanding user experience with our devices. The third point, and I think it's third and fourth point, which is I think it's really extremely important, is we extend the life cycle and enhance security. So these are the two key additional reasons to invest in Honeywell's Mobility Edge platform. So only Mobility Edge with system and model architecture guarantees support through at least Android R. And with commitment, with reasonable Honeywell commercial efforts, we are already working in this technology collaboration with Qualcomm and Google in order to support and to be compatible under through Android 13. So from the automatic data capture world, we are giving you the longest security life cycle in the industry. Whatever we're talking about healthcare, T&L, distribution centers, or any kind of vertical markets out there. But we also have some interesting introductions on the hardware part, including scanning. So let me introduce you about the FlexRange technology, which is Honeywell 8th generation in terms of imaging technology. It is what we consider to be the optimal choice for workers who need to scan a wide variety of ranges with a simple device, from a few inches to the top of the pallet rack. It enables virtually every use case in a single compact lightweight device, whatever it is. But seeing is believing, right? So let me just run a small video.
Hello, my name is Javier Perez. I'm
That I did by myself in one of the product
now we're going to
presentations
show
that we
the
had.
new 6803 FlexRange scanner embedded into the CT60. So you can see there is a whole flexibility in order to read very short distance barcodes, even pallet barcodes that we can see at 1.5, even 2-3 meters, and even far distance barcodes that we can see even through a display or a screen. Okay, so that was it. Easy. CT60 FlexRange scanner.
So you know me, I'm a marketing person with technical experience, of course, but it was me reading barcodes very simple. So even if I can do it, think about your customers. So what about this FlexRange as unique selling points? Let me tell you that we are having a size 1/10 of the size of any other competitor in terms of integration into mobile devices. And we are able to provide new imaging applications with APIs that our partners can easily integrate into their final offering. So of course, if we're thinking about warehousing environments, we can use it one single device for whatever use, whatever it is. Having no moving parts, it's rugged, it's fast, as you have already seen, and of course lighter, that it can fit into any kind of mobility edge devices that we have seen in the previous slide. But this is for warehousing. So what about for retail? We are able to read barcodes from the bottom of the basket. Even with the image capture, we are able to get information about planograms and pricing validation, and why not, to access any barcode at a much better range than existing technology out there. And of course, we're talking about planograms, point of sales, warehousing, but also this device can be used in field mobility in order to read damaged barcodes that are located in a broken parcels. Even we are able to, with this technology, to read smart OCRs, optical character recognitions, to validate any scene, because with just one click of the imager, we are able also to take a picture. And of course, we are able to identify icon and pattern recognition. So imagine that if your box says fragile or danger, logo appears or whatever, so we are able to detect and integrate that information into our system, into our mobile devices. So this is the hardware part that we have, but this is, as I mentioned, is not the only things we need to provide for this social distancing and safety procedures. Let me tell you that we are used on these days to clean and disinfect not only our hands, but also the vehicle, the tools, the devices that we use in our daily activities. So wherever we are into the car, we need to disinfect our steering wheel, the gear shift, the levers, the door handles that we use at our home or at our office. So why not to use in order to disinfect the devices that we do use? Of course, we can disinfect with soap, but in order to disinfect product, we need to use more strict components, whatever it is bleach or whatever it is alcohol-based products. And when you use that for your mobile iPhone or Android devices, you can see that the case will crack in a question of days. So we need to protect our devices with a specific case in order to support abrasive materials in order to disinfect it properly. And Honeywell has already recognized that need in the market. And these disinfectant-ready housing products are not made only for healthcare as we used to have in the past. So the rest of our product range, as you can see on this slide, will also have a disinfectant-ready case in black color. So we are able to keep any kind of vertical markets or customers, whatever it is, frontline workers, warehousing employees, able to disinfect the devices. So over the next few months, as you can see on the screen, we will be bringing into the market some of the most popular Honeywell devices, the scanner, mobile printers, and mobile terminals, in order to be used with disinfectant-ready housing for all the vertical markets that we are used to serve, okay? And this is the hardware part, but of course, at the end of the day, we need to focus on solutions, right? And Honeywell also have software parts in conjunction with Pointr and other partners and ISVs who provide a full validation of our solution. So whatever we include for these social distances, remote control and device system wipe, or social distancing proximity detection, or contact tracing, or occupancy manager, or congestion supervisor, or device cleaning activities, or geofencing, indoor locationing, device finder, check-in, check-out, application running, or even customer counting solutions is part of what we are going to see on the next 20 minutes. So let's go one by one. The first one is to mention about remote control and battery elimination. Let me tell you that we already have a tool from Honeywell, which is Operational Intelligence. That is a software platform that provides value-add services on top of the Honeywell hardware portfolio. So we are not able to say how my devices are used in terms of analytics, but also how many devices do I have? This is a basic question that not all the customers are able to provide an answer. We are able to say how many and where are the devices that I have sent for repair. Are the devices running the same software and firmware version? How many and where are the devices are out there? So we are able to provide an answer to all of these questions. And of course, we are able to push for procedures such as control of device system wipe, as we already mentioned. So we will provide the IT managers and IT administrators the availability to quickly take control of the device in any location and investigate and fix issues remotely. So how convenient is this? Really good thing. And of course, you don't need to use powerful mobile device management to do that. We also have operational intelligence. But also on a separate topic, we all know that every time a worker turns on a Honeywell mobile computer, operational intelligence can see not only the device, but the battery on the device. So we know and track if the battery was fully charged when the device was turned on. And we know the health of the battery, such as how many charge cycles have been used or how many remain in the battery. So this operational intelligence tool can graphically show the IT guy, the partner who manages the relationship with the customer, the day of the battery. And we are able to answer questions like, what is the inventory of the battery? So we can show a detailed listing of which batteries are not worth recharging, as well as which batteries are never getting used. So what about if we have a different interlocution with our customers? What about if we have a different discussions? So rather than talking about price, we can talk about, for instance, means a customer, we have discovered that 30% of the time, your workforce was starting their day with a healthy but partially charged battery. We can also see exactly how many times each day the workers in your organization were running out of battery power before their shift was complete and they need to do a swapping battery in the field. Or how many battery swaps has happened during the day and the battery was still in useful charge state. So we were wasting our time. So this kind of questions is a kind of different conversation we might have with our customers. Of course, this is just one of the things we have in operational intelligence. Moving forward, we also have people counting and more applications that we will see later on. But basically, this is a very progressive app. So all info is located on web services. So imagine that you have a retail store or a warehouse environment where there are different entrances. So you have one guy doing customer counting or workforce counting for managing how many people are already in that location. And Trevin, I'm sure you have it done already this with your experience and knowledge. So what things can you add into this feature?
So from Pointr's point of view, because we specialize in deep location and we consider we are the experts in leveraging Bluetooth on edgy sensors, and we've been doing this since 2014. We've been talking about leveraging the Honeywell hardware, and now we're starting to get into deeper diving around how we can support the re-entry back into the workplace, the warehouse, you know, that various different manufacturing plant, for example. And now, you know, in terms of our technology stack combined with the Honeywell devices, we have an application available called WorkSafe. So you can see here on the right-hand side, the Honeywell CT40 device. We're able to support iOS and Android devices with contact tracing. So you're seeing that the hot topic is contact tracing. Well, we can actually support leveraging our expertise with this by shipping a mobile application, deploying it to a Honeywell iOS or Android device, and without infrastructure being required to be able to perform contact tracing, so that me as an organization or a HR officer can identify who has come into contact with who and take necessary action so that the relevant people that I've come into contact with my Honeywell device is therefore needs to self-isolate at home. And so there, you know, the most important thing is that this is available. And so you're probably seeing in market a lot of solutions out there that are having issues, but based on our expertise, we're able to support with contact tracing, which we believe is important to support the safe re-entry. So if we're moving on to our other technology stack, Javier, then we look at, well, you know, a lot of our customers and organizations are asking, well, I have no idea how many people, you know, who are using the Honeywell devices or other devices within the actual building or facility in which my employees work in. So getting real-time data and insights based on how many people are at that building at any point in time, as well as how many people are in a zone or an area of an actual facility based on how many devices are being used. So at the sites level, the building or the campus level, we're leveraging GPS technology. And then we look at the zonal based level. As you can see there, there's 16 devices. I'm at 85% capacity. I then am also able to set thresholds and alerts and see this real-time insights across all my global facilities at any point in time, and not having to deep dive into logs and other types of traditional methods, which I'll show you shortly on the dashboard. Just moving on. And then we, our customers as well, some of the examples that have come up within the warehouses or front of house operations or workplaces is people congregating within those sites. And so being able to have an overview on a dashboard and showing a heat map of where that area or that zone or where those people are spending most of their time throughout the day, then I might be needing to set certain conditions that area might be too full at any point in time. And so being able to look at a historical replay of how people are moving within that environment leveraging accurate location technology as well. So, you know, even in the workplace, for example, canteens, cafeterias, everyone having to congregate in the one area, you know, organizations are starting to think, well, if I've got those insights, I might stagger different groups at different point in times to make sure that, you know, I'm not congregating in the one area. So we're giving those tools to the organization to make those real-time decisions, leveraging the Honeywell hardware there. Javier, just on to the next one. So just before we get into the Honeywell side of things in terms of the hardware, I'm just going to show you a quick demo in terms of what I've just shown you on the 3 previous slides, so you can get a taste for it in terms of what we're able to provide if you are considering, you know, bringing your staff back to work. And so I'm just going to share my screen if you don't mind. So when we look at setting occupancy and having that real-time insights that I'm constantly reinforcing here, is that if I'm a large organization, and I have multiple factories, multiple offices globally, I'm able to see across the world exactly my various different sites. And then I'm able to see here on the bottom of my screen here that you should be able to see is, are my sites or any of my sites overcrowded? Are they above limit? Are they near full, or are they within limit? So I can immediately be able to see exactly by honing into a particular area, I'm able to actually go, right, being able to set a particular zone or building, and being able to set a particular geofence accordingly. So if we have a look here, you notice that I'm able to set a maximum occupancy threshold by setting an actual zone here. Bear with me one second. So you can see here, this might be a warehouse or an actual your factory or an actual office, where at the moment that I actually am running that CT40 within that actual area, I'm able, and I want contact tracing to be able to run. The moment that that employee or that CT40 is within that zone, I'm able to set my threshold limits to set occupancy, as well as the moment that I'm actually able to you know, run that mobile application, contact tracing is only running within this actual zone itself. And so therefore I'm able to make relevant and add different zones or different buildings to my overall dashboard to make sure that I'm only running contact tracing, setting those occupancy limits of that particular zone. And then when I want to be able to deep dive into a particular zone or area, let's, for example, a site within Boston, I'm able to see exactly how many devices, unique devices of Honeywell are currently sitting on site real time. I'm able to see the total number of interactions within that zone, which is quite important. The unique number of devices today, for example, and all time. So, you know, when you're running contact tracing, you don't want to be able to be running it, you know, when people leave the premises. You only want to be able to run contact tracing to give the employees the satisfaction that this is only running in the background when the Honeywell devices, for example, are running within that particular site. And so when we start to look at, when we inspect within a particular zone, with me 1 second. So we can drill down into the various different levels. So you can take here, for example, you know, here are my various different offices. So Boston, Chinatown, for example. What we're doing is to protect the employee device ID. We're actually assigning them a pointer ID. We're not capturing any personal identifiable information when we run contact tracing on the Honeywell devices or other devices that this WorkSafe mobile application will be deployed. And we can see that people are currently online and that they're currently within the Boston, Chinatown, you know, let's say factory or office location, for example. And then we can see the number of interactions that have been run on that particular site at any point in time, and also the average interaction duration. So this is, you know, real-time data to be able to see the number of interactions to then allow an employee or an employer to make sure that they've got the safety to be able to understand that, right, my interactions are being recorded when I'm on site. So when we start to look at, you know, these other tools that are available in our technology stack, is when we start to look at, right, well, I can understand exactly where people have gone within my actual venue. And so this here is an example that could be a factory floor. We can actually see real time where people are moving within that environment to understand exactly, right, there are too many people congregating in this particular area at any point in time. And this is leveraging our Bluetooth low energy technology. So on the overall screen that I showed you just then is leveraging GPS and contact tracing, which is device to device. But then we start to leverage our expertise in Bluetooth and low energy sensors to be able to understand how people are moving with accuracy. So within this zonal based information and what you see here, we're able to get 1 to 3 meters accuracy, and you can see immediately that this data is updated every so often accordingly. And so finally, when we look at, we start to want to make the relevant decisions as the organization of what is happening within my environment, is then being able to provide zonal based, as I mentioned. So not only where someone has gone within the environment, but then being able to understand how many people are in this particular zone at any point in time. And so, as I said, this is leveraging our Bluetooth low energy sensors that we deploy within a mobile application deployed on the Honeywell device. And so this was just a brief overview in terms of some of the things that we have to be able to support organizations and their safe return to work, leveraging the Honeywell hardware. So I'll hand it back to you, Javier.
Okay. Let me just recover the presentation content. Hopefully you can see all my slide. So that's terrific news, Trivan. It's a wonderful tool that you have already shown here. Coming back to the tools that we already have available in the operational intelligence, and until we have disinfectant ready products, as we have shown earlier, we need to manage what we will have today, right? So we have developed some solutions to cover this temporary gap until we have the disinfectant ready new housing, and our operational intel tool is here to stay. So we are able to provide digital identifications and cleaning instructions to provide visibility. We are able to put in place cleaning procedures in order to configure and establish alerts for all employees to follow, and also to provide self-reported cleaning. So operators electronically confirm and register when they have properly clean a device or events that are logged in operational intelligence. So let's set up a configuration, you as a partner, as an IT manager, where every time after a delivery we want, by policy, or encourage or a worker to do a cleaning. So we can configure different criteria to trigger a cleaning. We can use when a new user appear, whatever it is, the launcher login or other login APIs. When we are being in the same site for a time duration, every 2, 3, 8 hours. So this is just an example, but you can find more procedures to put in place with this operational intelligence tool. And of course, we can always get a suite of reports and analytics in order to identify the last time the devices were clean, identify employees that use a specific device for a period of time. So in order to identify risk individuals. And this is everything software, but not only. Once again, I would like to open the word for Pointr, Trivan, as you already identified this as a trend, as an issue to solve. So can you tell us what about your offering about cleaning?
So what we're finding is a number of organizations have approached us in the last couple of months going, right, I have to meet my insurance standards as well as my local health standards, and I need to be able to understand where my cleaners gone within those environments in which I operate in. And if you start to think about, well, there are so many organizations that have various different distributed warehouses or sites globally, I need that one central place to see where my cleaners have gone. So due to our expertise in Bluetooth, we're able to identify and see how those cleaners are moving within those, let's say, environments. And so with the dashboards that I showed you, you would have seen that those dots and circles can be represented as cleaners to show exactly where they've moved within that environment. And so some of our customers have also said, well, the cleaners are having to go by strict cleaning regimes, but there might not be people that have actually visited those particular areas. So I need to make sure that, yes, I'm tracking my cleaning regimes, but I need to make sure that I'm not having to clean the same place over and over again. So I need efficiency in my cleaning regime. So therefore, we've now deployed our technology to support a cleaning monitor approach. So as well as on top of that, we can then send location-based alerts to those cleaners in those environments with real-time accurate location data to make sure that those cleaners are doing their job and those tasks that they were assigned and not putting anyone at risk. Thanks, Javier.
Okay, thanks. That's really good. So we also have other professional tools different from operational intelligence in order to fulfill that offering. We also have a small tool, but I think it all explains better with an example. So in the fulfillment center or in the retail shop, daily team need to review delivery tasks that need to be done through the day. And that requires that the associate or the partners or the people needs to be closer that the current social distancing recommendations, right? So with a mobility communications application, a pre-recorded message can be delivered to device-enabled drivers or enable workers in the retail shop or warehouse in order to begin their activity during the day. So this eliminates the need for people to create groups and still allow the workers to receive important messages. This is what we call Honeywell Smalltalk in order to be used together with any mobility edge devices or in any mobile computer. This is a hardware agnostic solution. So specifically, the workers that we will be using Smalltalk, we will have the different advantages. The first one is they don't need an additional phone anymore. By having a Smalltalk as unified communications tool, they can use phones at the same time or using their existing mobile devices, whatever it is, CD60, D51, CD40, or any other devices of the market. As I mentioned, we are hardware agnostic on this solution. So if a worker is delayed or the delivery man for the transport logistic companies can say to the central operation that the delivery will be late and we need to inform the customer appropriately, we can guarantee, of course, with this Smalltalk solution that we are fully supporting PBX interoperability as we support many of the existing protocols in the market. And this is what I would like to mention about the Smalltalk. But also we need to think about proximity alerts. But I think in order to see a proximity alerts, we can use the beacons or the Bluetooth modules that we already seen from Trivane. But I do believe that seeing is believing, right? So let's see a video that explains it fully. Hopefully the video is running. And there is a small sound. So basically we have a CD60, which we are moving all across the facilities. And we can easily identify that when another CD60 is in range, so, and the distance is overpassed, we can see a red alert appearing on any mobility device that we are using. As simple as that. I think it's a good example in order to explain that those devices or those workers do not need to be as close as it requires. Okay, what else can you point it out, Trivane, about location-based alerts?
Yeah, so when we talk about location-based alerts is, because we keep, reinforcing that point of the accurate location, we know the location of where the CT40, for example, is currently on the screen. So we're able to send through geofencing is what we called it, that zone that on the map that I just showed you how we do contact tracing as well, is we can actually do that indoors as well. So being able to serve up relevant push notifications to the CT40 based on an employee's location to trigger maybe alerts or things like stock take as well, or when we're looking at our WorkSafe offering, being able to send push notifications saying avoid this area because you're currently standing near a zone or an area that needs to be turned off, or being able to assign a task. So having that real-time location to send relevant push notifications to help guide the staff is quite important. So Javier, we'll move on. I think we might have frozen Javier.
Yeah, sorry, I was speaking on mute. So it's clear that when we have some additional tools to do indoor locationing, so each warehouse or retail store has a different range of IP addresses in order to relocate devices where they are moving among the premises. So if you move, for instance, from a dark room into the store, the device is unregistered from the dark store and registered in the retail floor department. So this is something that it can be easily done with our operational intelligence tool. And we can also get to know what is the latest indoor location, knowing what is the latest access point that gave coverage to that device. So as I mentioned, that can be easily implemented with operational intelligence in terms of device finder application as well, using the second beacon of the Bluetooth that we added into the whole Mobility Edge, whatever it is, CT40 XP, CT60 XP, or CK65 and CN80 as well. So even if the device is switched off and this second beacon is powered by a backup battery, so you can easily find the device, whether it is on or off. That will really differentiate this tool from Honeywell. So it is clear that with device finder functionality, you will never lose a working device anymore, as we are integrating a unique second beacon feature with Bluetooth that is powered from the backup battery on the device. So once again, back to you, Ben, for wayfinding application.
So when we talk about wayfinding, so through indoor location, the blue dot that you would be used to see on a map, for example, on other applications when you're outdoors, we have the capability to be able to provide real-time wayfinding or safe wayfinding in the current climate. We're able to get 1 to 3 meters accuracy. So as you can see on the right-hand side there, there's a CT40. We can provide a map that I'll walk you through in a moment, but that blue dot, that turn-by-turn navigation to be able to search for a particular product or stock or item or point of interest, we call it, and be able to have guidance with turn-by-turn navigation 100% offline as well, which is quite important. So when having that navigation within that environment, you don't want to be connecting to Wi-Fi or leveraging GPS because it simply doesn't work inside. I just want to know exactly where I am within that warehouse or that distribution center and be guided. And it might work well for a new employee who has no idea where to go, or being able to do task management when I'm doing fulfillment orders and being guided within that warehouse. And so what we generally find is that within our sector, that this is where the technology in other providers can fail, but therefore we have that blue dot working across a number of retailers and offices and airports globally to be able to support that technology. Javier, thank you. So in terms of when we look at some of our customers, they might already have existing maps. So in order to be able to put a blue dot that you would see on that CT40, we need to be able to take the CAD or the drawings of a building or a warehouse and then convert that into a map. So we have also not only the indoor location experience and expertise, but the ability to take a CAD drawing, convert it into a map at scale. So some major US retailers and airports globally, we're able to grab the CAD drawings and then simply ingest that CAD drawing into a beautiful looking map on the customer side, but we can also make a mapping capability on the CT40 and other Honeywell devices that can show that blue dot to support the indoor navigation. But the biggest thing is being able to do it at scale and not having to have a team sitting there to be able to draw maps. We have the capability to convert it, as I mentioned. Thank you, Javier. And so when we also talk about indoor location is around, and reinforcing the point of being able to search for a particular product in store. and then understanding where the employee is associated to that particular product. So being able to, we can also look at combining inventory data with the real-time location, so that I might need to dispatch staff to a particular area, or I might have a customer who has entered the actual premises and I want to connect the customer with a staff member who's using the mobile application side on the customer level, which we can support, but also on the Honeywell device side. So we can either provide that seamless experience for the customer, or being able to become that digital twin within that environment that the staff member's operating in, to help guide them as they go along, especially for a new employee or an employee who has a increased workload, who just needs the quickest and fastest way around within the environment in which they work in. Thank you, Javier.
Okay, so that was it from our side. But before we go to the questions and answer session, let me just wrapping up about what we have seen today, not only in terms of hardware updates, in terms of Mobility Edge or FlexRange scanner from Honeywell, but also the applications offerings that we already covered. So let me just remind you about remote control, a device system wipe. Let me tell you about social distance proximity detection, contact tracing, occupancy manager, congestion supervisor, device cleaning manager, smart talk and proximity alerts, geofencing, indoor locationing, device finder, check-in, check-out, customer counting, dispatch staff and digital mapping. So that was a lot of solutions that we put on paper right now. So and if you provide us a couple of weeks more, I'm really sure that Pointr and Honeywell, we will develop more solutions in place. And let me tell you, all these solutions from Pointr appears in our Honeywell marketplace, along with solutions across many industries, whatever it is, distribution centers, manufacturing, transport and logistics, retail, healthcare, and many more. So this Honeywell marketplace, it provides a forum for innovators like Pointr, and customers can come together to shape the future of the industrial enterprise. And of course, you can always reach Pointr directly, as we do now enter into the questions and answer session. So Alex, any pending questions while we were speaking that we can provide some answers?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I can already see a couple of questions. So let's start. So first one is for you, Javier. What are the devices to be disinfecting ready, please?
Okay, maybe I was very quick there on that slide. I need to spend more time. Okay, so we have the full product range, the devices we sell most in Europe. So in terms of scanners, we have the Zen XP and the Voyager. In terms of mobile printers, especially for retail, the RP2 and warehouse employees. And for mobile terminals, we have a full variety, not only the new ones that we have already launched, CT40, XP, CT60 XP, but also traditional products like CK65 or even ED51. These are the top products that we are planning to add with disinfectant ready case during the second half of the year.
Thank you, Javier. Next one is for Pointr this time. How easy is to deploy your solutions?
So in terms of from our point of view, all we're doing is shipping a mobile app that supports iOS and Android. And because we're leveraging GPS technology in our Pointr WorkSafe solution that you can find on our website, pointr.tech, we're able to provision within a couple of days. So to answer your question, there's no infrastructure required on WorkSafe standard. And then when we start to look at that deeper analytics on some of the understanding where people have gone, such as cleaners within that environment, then we require the deployment of Bluetooth beacons. We are hardware and software agnostic, so we often find that there's already Bluetooth infrastructure within this environment, so we're able to deploy in weeks. So WorkSafe standard, there's no infrastructure. On WorkSafe Plus is what we call it. We require Bluetooth infrastructure to be able to support that deeper analytics.
Another one for Pointr, but I think you already answered to this. What infrastructure is required?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there's no infrastructure required on WorkSafe Standard and WorkSafe Plus. It's just existing Bluetooth infrastructure, as I mentioned.
Thank you very much. I see no other questions at this point, so let's allow a few more seconds. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar. Javier is always here to pick your questions, if any other after the call. We will send you the recording and the presentation tomorrow, and look forward to see you into our upcoming webinars. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.